So there's a saying that money only makes you more of who you already are. If you're a nice person, money may allow you to be more generous with other people. But if you're a meat person, money may make you more of a jerk. So the most important thing that we can do is work on our character first. So when the money comes in, you'll be able to do great things with it. You need to learn how to be responsible with a little before you're responsible with a lot. We actually, I had a business partner who's no longer in the business, but you could make some really great money very fast here. And he went and made $250,000 in a 12-month period of time very quickly in the business, but then he also bought a Lamborghini that same year and spent all of his $250,000 on a Lamborghini. And then unfortunately, somebody keyed his car, because there are haters out there, this beautiful new black, gorgeous Lamborghini convertible, and someone keyed it. And you know how much it cost to repair that? It was like a $30,000 repair for the damage. And then so sometimes people just are living above their means. So it's important for us to learn how to be responsible with our money with a little bit in the beginning so that when you have a lot, you can flourish. So last week we talked about rule number one, saving 10% of every dollar that you receive. If you save $10, save a dollar. If you get $10, save a dollar. If you earn 1,000, save 100. Because if you learn to save when you have small amounts, you'll be disciplined when you start having big amounts. But people say, Liz, I'm already having a hard enough time living on 100%. That how can I possibly live on 10%? But the thing is, people think that when I earn more money, then I'm going to start saving. The problem with that is that if you're not in the habit of saving with a little when a lot comes in, you'll be trapped in the habit of spending. So there's some employers, you might want to ask your job if they have a way for you to direct a certain percentage of your income straight into a savings account. So when some companies allow you to have two direct deposits, one into your checking account, but then one also into a savings or investment account. Of course, then there's the investment account opportunities too, which I'll talk about. But last week we did talk about why it's important to save money because I actually had an associate say to me, and I couldn't believe it because she was this responsible mom, and she said, "What? Why? But why do I need to save money?" And I was shocked to hear her ask that question. So if she has that question, other people probably do too. If you're in the habit of saving money, then you'll have money for the things that you really want, like moving out and renting your own apartment or buying that engagement ring or buying that first home. Or you'll have money for emergency situations like a flat tire or, someone getting sick and needing alternative medical treatments to be able to help. So let's get into rule number two. Let's talk about investing your money. Um, so if you remember the example of saving 10%, last week I talked about if you save $10 a day for 10 years. So if you save $10 a day, 365 days a year, you have $365 at the end of the year extra. But if you do that, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. If you save $10 every day, 365 days a year, you'll have $3,650 at the end of the year. But if you do that consistently for 10 years, you'll have $36,500 to put down maybe on your first home or an investment home. So, but if you actually invested that same $10, instead of just saving it, if you had invested that same $10 a day for 10 years, growing with compound interest at 10% per year, instead of having 36,500, you would actually have $94,676 just investing. So you would have tripled your money in 10 years. Amazing. But you only put in the 36,000. That's free money. That's enough to buy two homes or two investment properties. So my old mentor, Paul Meyer, he was one of the first billionaires in the US. He was our upline above Brian Carruthers. Paul Meyer, a billionaire from Texas, said, "You got to put overalls on your money." And Paul Meyer has done so well with investing his money and growing and multiplying it and being diligent at saving and investing that now he has a foundation where he sends every Waco high school senior to college on full scholarship. As long as, number one, they don't do drugs or they don't get pregnant, he will pay for their college tuition for 4 years. So imagine the blessings he's been able to give because he has so much. He has a big, huge garage with like 50 cars, one car per week. Can you imagine? Now, it wasn't until Dave and I started saving and investing were we then able to buy our single family home living in Southern California. We had each owned condos, but here it's very, very expensive, right? And so how are we able to purchase $1 million home? It wasn't until our family started saving and investing. Now there's many different ways to invest, you know. My uncle put $10,000 into Tesla stock when his daughter was born. And on her 10th birthday, guess how much it had grown to? $200,000 in 10 years. Now, of course, that Tesla had its big run and was hot at the time. There's other things I would invest that you would want to speak to a financial professional about investing in these days. But the possibilities when you invest your money instead of not invested at all. My husband's best friend invested in real estate ever since he was 18 and now owns over 50 properties that pays a passive cash flow every single month that pays a great return. And they've all appreciated in value. And as you know, I invested in starting my own business here, and my return has been millions of dollars. So start investing. Or if we've gotten out of the habit, where do we put that extra money? Warren Buffett, as you guys know, is one of the wealthiest men in America. He recommends putting money into the S&P 500, which is the index. It's an index fund of the top 500 performing stocks and companies in North America. And so such as like Vanguard, the ticker symbol's VOO. And I looked at our share. We have money in VOO, and it's gone up $400 a share in the last 3 years. It continues to go up and to the right. And so that is the most conservative and it's just one of the most conservative and profitable ways that Warren Buffett recommends. I'm not a financial professional, so that's my disclaimer. I'm not giving financial advice. You know, you got to make your own pick, but you've got to make a financial plan to invest your money. Otherwise, when you have the money come in, you'll make a spending plan. Ask me how I know. I'm guilty of buying all sorts of things, and you guys know my background of having gotten into credit card debt and then having to dig myself out. So that brings us to rule number 3, money rule number 3, and that's just to not debt. Just don't debt, because if you don't start debting, then and you always just use the money that you have to buy things instead of going into debt, then you will be in a much more peaceful financial situation. So, you know, how did I get into credit card debt? When I was in college, credit card offers were everywhere. I mean, they were everywhere. I walked outside of my college cafeteria and boom, there was a table. They had free t-shirts if you sign up today, or free airline miles when you're flying on a flight. You know, sign up for this and you'll get an extra 5,000 miles, which is enough to go to Hawaii or blah, blah, blah. It's very tempting. Like when you go to TJ Maxx and Macy's and Old Navy and they say, well, if you apply for a card today, you get an extra 15% off your order. Or even if I already have the card and I'm not using it, I'll walk up to the register and they'll say, well, if you use your Old Navy card today, you'll save $40 on your purchase. And it actually sounds like a great deal. oh, I'm going to get to save, 10 or 20% off of today's purchase instead of using the cash that I have in my hand right now or on my debit card. But then if you're not disciplined to pay that off within 30 days, because now everything, like you miss the mail or you miss the email because of all the spam that comes in, you don't get the notification to pay those bills, and you can't just pay it right there at the store. If you don't have the discipline to pay it off, guess what? You end up getting interest on that baby. You don't pay it off in 30 days, boom, now you're at 25% interest, even though my savings on the purchase was only 10%. So now I'm being penalized more than I was when I was trying to save the money. And interest on a credit card is just a killer. It's just like the compounding interest on the investments that you made, the compounding debt that you incur from interest on a credit card is even way more destructive. So just don't do it. Just don't do it. Fortunately, I started Legal Shield and it has paid off every penny of the debt, the extra income, which then grew to, multiple six figures and all that stuff. So just don't start. And if you are already in credit card debt, Robert Kiyosaki says, then just stop right now. Just from now forward, you're not going to use them anymore. You're just going to wait until you have the cash to pay for the things that you want. Okay. Um, and while you're paying off the rest of your debt. Money rule number 4 is to tithe, is to give. Tithing is when you set a portion of your money, usually the first 10%, and give to your church or charity. And it's a way of honoring God and trusting Him to provide for your needs. It's about being grateful for what you have and helping others, because giving helps your community and helps keep you grounded in gratitude. And giving money also helps you be more prosperous. By sharing what you have, you open up space in your life for more blessings to flow in. So, tithing and learning how to be generous. It's like, I think it was Cliff Malloy says that if you're like this with your money, then it can't circulate. But if you're willing to give and spread the love, then it keeps coming back to you. And that's what Paul Meyer, our billionaire mentor from Texas, said. And he said he spent the first half of his life accumulating wealth, and then he spent the last half of his life trying to give it all away. He could not give it away fast enough because as he was giving it away, it kept coming back to him. It kept multiplying and people kept generously giving to him. And he's like, no, I'm trying to give it away before I pass away. He hired like 3 full-time staff people whose full-time job was to give away his money. So, and he's still a blessing today, even though he's not here on this earth anymore, blessing all these children in Waco. So anyway, what is your plan for what you're going to do with the extra money from your Legal Shield business? Is it extra or are you living on it? That's 2 different plans, of course, right there. But regardless, let's not only build our successful businesses, but get well and heal financially in the process too.